Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from Kayla Harper 90. It's a story that we have covered in the past, but there is new updates to it as well. So if you do want to skip certain parts of the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. Just a warning before we get into it, it contains death of a parent, car accident, stalking, harassment, child endangerment, and assault as well. So if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thanks. It says a bit of background here. I, 39 female, have a brother, 32 male, who I'll call Chase. Chase has been with this girl, 35 female, that I'll call Vivian for almost 2 years now. About a month into their relationship, Vivian got pregnant with my nephew, who is now almost a year old. Vivian also has 2 daughters, 5 female and 8 female from a previous relationship. The daughters are very close in age to my daughter, 7 female, and up until last weekend, everyone got along fine. They live in a different state than us, but come to visit fairly often and stay with us because we have the extra room. Last weekend, they came to stay again, and about an hour before they left, my daughter noticed that a few of her favorite toys were missing. The girls were playing all weekend, so I didn't think much of it and offered to help her look for them. After about 20 minutes of searching, we could not find the toys anywhere, so I asked Vivian's girls if they remembered where they were playing with them last. The girls said no, but acted a little guilty about it. I asked Chase and Vivian about it, and Chase said he saw the exact toys in the room that Vivian's girls were sleeping in. We went to check and they were not there. He asked Vivian if she had moved them when she packed the girls' things that morning, and she said they were not there. We went back into the living room and I saw Vivian's girls huddled close together over a backpack and quickly closed it when they saw we were there. Chase asked the girls again if they knew where the toys were, and this time they didn't say anything and just looked at their mum. Chase reached for the bag and Vivian lost it. She started yelling at me, how dare I accuse her daughters of stealing, and she tried to snatch the bag away. Chase opened it and there were the missing toys, plus a few more. I was absolutely furious. I told her I wanted to see what else she had and demanded she open the 2 suitcases. She said that was an invasion of her privacy and tried to take them and leave. Chase stopped her and made her open them. She had taken several tops, a few skirts and dresses, and a brand new pair of Nikes that belonged to my daughter. I took everything back and told her she and her girls were not allowed back into my home. I've since received several texts from her and a few unknown numbers telling me I embarrassed her and upset her girls because they were promised the items. Chase is upset with her but said I was too mean to her in front of everyone and that I could have handled the situation more privately. I do feel awful that her girls left crying, but am I the arsehole for how I handled the situation? Edited to add. Answers to a few questions I keep getting. I'm not sure who promised the girls the items. She would not elaborate, but I'm assuming it was her. She wanted me to pull her aside into a different room away from Chase and the kids to talk about the situation. Also, yes, I'm 99% sure the baby is his. He's almost a carbon copy of my brother when he was a baby. I do not believe the girls knew they were stealing the things. I really believe that their mum told them I said it was okay. We never had problems with the girls before this. They really seem to be good kids. Also, I'll be talking with my brother tonight or tomorrow to discuss things further. Edit 2. I'll be speaking with my brother in about an hour. I've been in contact with someone that knows her and a lot has come to light. We'll update again if my brother says I can, as it's his life and not mine. Vivian is not at all who she claims to be. Mini update in the same post saying thank you all so much for the responses. I'm sorry I haven't been able to get to everyone's comments as I really didn't think this would take off. I talked with my brother last night and showed him a lot of your comments and suggestions. Thanks to someone in the comments, we now know a lot more about Vivian and the kind of person she really is. I'll not be able to tell you all everything, but I can tell you that my brother and nephew are now staying with us, while he gets a DNA test and proceeds to cut ties with her. I may have more to give you all in the coming days or weeks, depending on what the paternity test says. Again, thank you all so much. Straight into the comments, the first one says, not the arsehole. Holy shit, that is a hot mess. You should not feel bad for their crying, but you might talk to your brother about this terrible choice in partners. Opie says our family never really loved her, but she has never done anything before this. To my knowledge, that was a major red flag. Unfortunately, even if he does leave her, he's stuck for another 17 years. Commodore says, not the arsehole. I may not have thought to open the suitcases. I would have thought the girls just stole the toys, but the clothes makes it seem like it was Vivian's act, especially if the girls were promised them. Who else would promise them? Your brother, his wife and children / stepchildren shouldn't be invited back. Anyone saying anything to you can host them themselves or shut the fuck up. Opie says I normally wouldn't have thought to check either, but the way she grabbed them and tried to leave set off all the warning bells in my head. Commodore says, and who was there to be embarrassed in front of? It sounds like it was just your two families. You don't want to be called out as a thief? Don't steal. Opie says I embarrassed her in front of Chase and my perfect daughter, as she called her. Opie on not letting Vivian and her daughters back into her house. Opie says they are no longer welcome back. My brother and nephew can stay anytime, but he'll have to leave them at home. Commodore says, so she promised your daughter's clothing, shoes, and toys to her children, steals them, gets caught, and you're the bad guy. Nope. Opie says, in her words, your daughter has more stuff than all 3 of my kids combined. Commodore says, not the arsehole, but I would like to add that the timing of her quick pregnancy is suspect. With her behavior of stealing your daughter's things and acting entitled to taking them, it feels like she hooked up with your brother for financial reasons. Your brother may consider requesting a paternity test if or when he decides to end the relationship. Opie says my family thought the same thing. The baby does look exactly like my brother, so I do believe he is his, but you are probably onto something with the baby trapping. We knew her as a casual fling until she ended up pregnant. Someone says, are Chase and Vivian married? Opie says, they're not married, thank goodness. I'm hoping to talk some sense into him. Someone says, where's the girl's father? Opie says, as far as I know, the girl's dad has been in and out of the picture for the last 4 years. My brother pays for everything and provides for them. Commodore side-eyes and says, was she using a fake name and has a record? Holy shit. I was just going to say you're not the arsehole, but also like, wow, so much more evil than I expected. I'm sorry you have to deal with this. Opie says not necessarily fake. Apparently she was married before the girl's dad and was telling us that the first husband's last name was her maiden name. I'm honestly sick because I now know we know absolutely nothing about this woman who has had access to my home for the last 1.5 years. And this is where a user came into the post called Mysterious Cow and says, this story sounds very familiar, but not for the reasons others are saying. Do the initials KAS, KAS, apply to this post at all? To which OP just said, please message me. Commodore said, look, I don't know if KAS and OP know each other, and damn, do I want to, but if not, I think we need the story of KAS anyway. Mysterious Cow come back in and said, it's unfortunately her. So this is where that commenter came into the post and posted a thread called The Legend of KAS. Well, this suddenly has blown up, but who am I to deny the people of what they want? KAS Lore. For obvious reasons, I'm going to be a little vague with certain details for privacy reasons. Mainly, I don't want this crazy train coming back into my life, and hopefully you'll understand why by the end. So buckle up, bitches. This one is long and wild. And please don't judge me. We don't associate with any of these people anymore and haven't for over a decade. Also, I will say that she is a very pretty girl and has usually gotten whatever she wants from men, so she's not used to hearing no. 2005. When I was 18, my then boyfriend, now husband, and I were invited to a house party hosted by a friend of a friend to celebrate graduation. We knew about half the people there and had been to the house a handful of times before. We were all hanging out in the basement, and after a few drinks I went upstairs to use the bathroom, and that's where I met KAS, who was 14 at the time. The bathroom door was open, so I walked in and turned on the light, but to my surprise, there she was with some guy in the bathtub doing things you typically wouldn't do in an unlocked room. I apologized and found a different bathroom. About an hour later, she came downstairs where the rest of us were and locked in on my boyfriend and made a beeline for him. Keep in mind, I am right next to him. She tries to sit on his lap, and when he pushes her off of him, she pops back up like a demented jack-in-the-box and immediately starts screeching about how she was just playing, you aren't even hot, and you could do so much better than her, to him. We stayed another hour or so and left. A week later, she was blowing up the guy's phone she hooked up with, telling him she was pregnant. When he didn't believe her, because honestly, who would after just a week? She tried to press charges for rape. I do know my boyfriend and I both had to talk to the police officer because we were both there, and I was the one that walked in on them. I don't know what happened after that, but the charges were eventually dropped. 2009. My husband and I are 22 and she is 18. We're now married and living on the East Coast because he's in the military. We come home from his parents' 4th of July party and get tasked with going to get more ice. He runs in to pay and I'm standing by the ice chest outside waiting for him, and guess who shows up? She walks straight up to me and says something along the lines of, she's glad I finally learned my place and that her and my husband have been so happy together for the last year. She also made some very vulgar comments about their sex life. I don't even have time to react to her when he comes back outside and she goes pale and then bright red. This crazy bitch then has the audacity to look at my husband and ask him what he wants for dinner that night and try to remind him of plans they have that weekend to go to the lake with her family. While he just stands there staring at her like a dumbass and then asks if he knows her. I absolutely lose it and almost piss myself from laughing as she stalks off. Once we're back to his parents, he gets a Facebook request from her and deletes it. Over the period of 3 days, she sends him 4 or 5 friend requests, so he blocks her. We go back to no contact the following week and forget all about her again. 2010. I'm now 7 months pregnant with our daughter and we fly back to our hometown one last time before she's born. Of course, run into KAS again at Walmart. I know how it sounds, but we're from a town of about 5,000 people. So you kind of see everyone all the damn time, whether you want to or not. I'm noticeably pregnant and I'm about 7 months along. I'm also only 5'2" and at the time weighed around 115 pounds, so it was very clearly a baby bump. She's with her sister and they seem to be following us, but we try to ignore them. We're now checking out and again they're right behind us, still acting like children. But in her defense, she was 19-ish at the time. We were still ignoring them and her sister says fairly loudly, "They'll dump her now that she's fat." We continue to ignore them and leave the store. Later that day, a friend tells us to check Facebook and lo and behold, there is a picture of me in the snack aisle with the caption, "When you catch your surrogate buying nothing but junk food," and so many comments agreeing with how horrible I am. This psycho had been telling everyone that I was the surrogate for her and my husband's baby. We filed a restraining order the next day. 2018. We moved back to our hometown and buy my family's farmland to start our own cattle business. Highly don't recommend if you'd like to be able to make and keep plans, see your family, or take vacations. As far as we know, she has gotten married and is living her life away from us. About 6 months into being back, we get a letter in the mail from a family lawyer saying my husband needs to present himself for a paternity test and we're being sued for child support. Apparently the baby girl came out white and KAS's husband was not. She told her husband that my husband had raped her and that it was his baby. Charges were filed and thankfully we're still in North Carolina at the time of conception, and the army is very meticulous about knowing where their soldiers are at all times. The rape charges were immediately dismissed, as was the paternity test and child support. We filed another restraining order and installed cameras all over our property. Her husband ended up adopting the baby and they stayed together. 2020. She makes the front page of our town paper. Apparently KAS has had another baby girl who also did not match her husband's skin tone. He kicked her and the kids out, and one night she came back to his house in full view of his security cameras in her own car with the kids and just set his porch on fire. The husband got temporary custody of the girls for about 2 years while KAS was in jail. 2023. She gets the girls back and dips out of state. The husband files a police report and everyone is looking for her. Unfortunately, the husband passes in a car accident the same year. 2025. I'm doom scrolling Reddit and see a story that sounds very familiar, and here we are. Reasons I thought it was her from the other post. Her and the girl's ages. We knew she had a baby boy recently. She has a history of theft and immediately playing the victim when caught. We still have a few mutuals on Facebook, so I do see her post from time to time, and knew she moved in with a new guy, Opie's brother from the other post, about 1.5 years ago. Well, I think that's the meat and potatoes of it. I'll be around later this afternoon to answer any questions. I may have some of the dates off, but hell, my memory is trash these days and I try not to think about her or any of those crazies. Obviously, people were adding comments on the back of this. Someone said, "A fixation on your husband is so scary. Hopefully she continues to leave you alone." I also hope her kids turn out okay, because between the other story and this one, she sounds like she has many personal growth opportunities. The OP of this post says she has tried to reach him via social media a few times, but we don't really do Facebook or anything like that anymore, and just try to live pretty private lives. I really think part of it's jealousy, because he's one of the few that never fell for her charms. Like I said, it's a very small town and she really is a pretty girl. Commenter says, "Be prepared. She's crazy and she'll come back when she reads the story on Reddit and realizes it's about her. And maybe reads this too." The OP said, "We have enough to get her another restraining order at any time. We also have security cameras all over our property and a few dogs that are the embodiment of wish a motherfucker would." Commenter says, "As batshit as crazy as this chick is, I'm super glad to see you and your husband have stuck by each other's side. That part makes me happy for you." OP says, "Thank you. He's my best friend and has been since 8th grade. The crazier thing is, he's not the only one she's latched onto over the years, but I don't feel comfortable telling other people's stories. I'll get a hold of the other guy she's been obsessed with and see if he will allow me to tell his story on here." Someone says, "What was KAS like when growing up? Was she displaying that kind of behavior?" OP says, "I agree with you 100%, but at what point do you grow up and see what you're doing is absolutely insane? I do know her childhood wasn't great. They were pretty low income, so they did struggle, but I know her parents and her siblings, and aside from the one sister, they're all really good people. One of her brothers owns a successful trucking company that we actually have a contract with for our cattle business. Her other sister is a nurse at our local hospital. KAS is the baby of the 5 of them. Anne was kind of allowed to do whatever she wanted, so I think she played into that too." And this OP talks about the original OP from the first one deleting the account and said, "Yeah, unfortunately Psycho Sally found that one and this one. The original account has been deleted, unfortunately." So then there was an update. It said, "KAS update. Hey all, this is probably going to be the last KAS update for a while. It's been a rough 48 hours between some issues we're having on the farm due to 4 days straight of rain and KAS finding the posts about her. I try to be brief but give you guys an update as to what's going on. I've been in contact with the OP from the first post and have permission to include a couple of updates from her situation as well. KAS has been arrested. Her girls are safe with OP's brother and they're all back at his house. She found the post and went feral with comments, and even a post which included a picture of my husband she took from my Facebook that I have since had to deactivate. We called our local sheriff department about the harassment and learned that she had an active warrant. I was able to get in touch with OP to find out exactly where she was, and they contacted the law enforcement agency in that area, and they went and got her. We have pressed charges as well. Right now, she's looking at stalking, harassment, child endangerment, resisting arrest, and assault on an officer, among the charges she already had pending. I knew what might happen if I responded to OP's post, but I do not regret reaching out to her or exposing her antics. What matters is everyone is safe and she is being held without bond." Update from the original, which says, "The girls are safe with my brother and he has all 3 children. He's been awarded temporary guardianship and will be getting them into counseling in the coming week. I tried to press charges, but as the items never left my home, I was unable to. We will have the results of the paternity test next week as well, but no matter the outcome, he'll be trying to get full rights to my nephew." And additional information from the commenter OP, who says, "Guys, I've had several messages asking for a picture of her. Let me make this very clear. I will not be doing that. I will not be posting her picture on here. I will not be posting her picture in some random group on Facebook. I'm trying to protect my family along with the family of the OP of the first post. Hell, at this point, I'm trying to protect their girls. Stop asking for a picture and pictures of the girls." Commenter says, "You've done the right thing, and you might have saved these girls from a lifetime with that scary woman, so thank you for stepping out of your comfort zone to do what's right. I hope you get peace from her now, but as with most crazy people, that likelihood is slim. As for KAS, she needs help. Obviously, she's not going to try and seek it on her own, but maybe now her kids have been taken off of her, it might force her to do something." Commenter says, "Holy smokes, OP. I haven't read anything this engaging in quite a while. I admire your integrity and wisdom. It sounds like your husband has those qualities as well. Too bad KAS was given looks, but none of the really valuable stuff. You're also a very articulate writer. You random doom scrolling just altered the fate of who knows how many people. Sometimes it's difficult to see the benefits of having character and being good when it seems like most of the world are cashing in or being heard of the opposite. I think smart people like you know this is the only way to live though. Your post makes me feel better about the world and happy you're raising kids of your own. May the sun shine upon you, the wind at your back, and your crops and rivers pristine and bountiful. And one more commenter who says, what is the most important thing here is that the kids are fine and are in a safe place. For a reason, you came across OP's post. It was definitely the right thing to do, you coming in with all that information about KAS so everyone can find peace. Hopefully everyone moves on the right direction for everyone involved. The OP updated again saying, good morning all. I have a couple of updates for you, but first we need to discuss some things. I appreciate all the love we're getting from this, but some of you need to check yourselves. I will not be posting pictures of her, I will not be linking articles, I will not be posting mugshots, I will not be posting her court records. Well yes, all of this is public record and can be found online. It will also expose our names, address and personal information. If you ask, you will be blocked. If I have to block enough people, I will delete this account and then no one will get updates. Sorry to be an arse, but this is our lives, our home, and I have to put us and our children's safety first. I've also had a few questions on why we moved back with all this going on every time we came home. This farm has been in my family for over 120 years, and I will not be giving that up over her. Now, onto the updates. KAS is still in jail and will be held there until a court date in the coming months, after which she'll be transferred back to where she was arrested to face charges that include child endangerment, resisting arrest, and assault on an officer. We've had a few people ask if we're safe, and yes we are. We have security cameras that run 24/7 on all structures, barns, houses, sheds, garages and everything. Out here both inside and out. And well yes, part of the reason we have them installed was because of her. The main reason is we own a working cattle farm. Farm accidents happen all of the time and our insurance is a lot less if we have them, so no, we're not just being paranoid like a few have hinted. I mentioned in the comments that her brother owns a trucking company that we work closely with, so I was able to fill him in on everything going on. He is talking to the original OP's brother to take in the girls, and they have a family court hearing on Friday. Will hopefully be living with her uncle soon. He's a really good guy and his wife is amazing. If they were anything like KAS, they would not be working for us, and I believe they are the girl's best option for a normal upbringing. Now on to the baby boy. Chase is the father. He already has a lawyer and given the circumstances, should be able to get full custody and rights to him going forward. I'll update again after the hearing on Friday. As we will be going with him to help him get the girls. As far as I know, KAS has not reached out to check on them since being arrested. Oh, and no, her late husband's accident was not her doing. He was driving home one night after being at the bar and went off the road. He was found the next day and there were no signs of foul play. It was determined the most likely cause was he was intoxicated. An animal ran out in front of him and he swerved to miss it, but hit a tree. So then OP came in 5.5 months later with what was titled their final update and said, hey, it's been a minute. I don't even know if anyone even cares anymore, but I have a final update. The girls are now in custody of their uncle, KAS's brother and his wife. They started school this fall and are doing absolutely great. They are a little behind but are so smart and catching up quick. Baby boy is with his dad and also doing great. KAS is locked up and will be for at least the next 3 to 5 years. She pled guilty to a lot, which expedited the process but did reduce the jail time. She signed her rights away to the baby but not the girls. That is still ongoing, unfortunately. Commenter said, good update OP. Hope things will start getting better for you and the other OP now that KAS is no longer an issue. Hope the girls aren't hurt by any of this and live much better, happier life. OP said, like I said, they're a little behind academically, and they do have a few behavioral issues, but all in all, they're really good kids. They're doing so much better than anyone expected and are in therapy. We even had them out to the house a few times to see the new calves, and they really enjoyed themselves. Bloody hell. The absolute escalation of things in this is crazy. It started off with like Did your kids nick my daughter's toys? And then turned into uncovering this woman with a huge history of false accusations, arson, stalking, and all spilling over on Reddit. And it just sounds like in the end that it's just saved these kids from all sorts of chaos in their lives. Cass being locked up, the girls with family who actually care, and Chase having a son. And it was nice to hear that the kids are doing much better. Well, most people in this are doing much better now that she's away from them. It's always stories with kids, man, that get to me. And I really do hope and wish them a bright future ahead of them. But what do you guys make of this situation? What do you make of the final update? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Yeah, man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. You just don't.